All right, since I've uploaded 3 helmet test videos in a row every other day, I figured I could break it up a little bit with a different kind of video. So this will be more of a vlog, personal update kind of thing about some of the things that have been going on. And the first that I want to talk about is something that's going to amuse my Patreon supporters, I think. Because guess what? The freaking Ballistic Gel finally arrived. So the background here is that I ordered this Ballistic Gel, I don't know, about 4 months ago or so, or even longer. I think it's about 4 months. And I've been keeping people updated on Patreon because this whole order is ridiculous. I mean, they kept telling me, yeah, we don't have it in yet. We're going to get it in soon. And then I kept asking again, so what's the order status? What's the order status? And at first, they didn't even reply at all because, as it turns out, that store doesn't normally sell to private individuals. It's for companies and stuff. It's called Crime Sciences. And so it took me a while to even convince them to even process my order, because I told them what I planned to do with it, and then they agreed. But then it took forever for them to actually get the stuff in. So I had to call them and keep asking via email and all of that. And so finally, when I almost didn't expect it anymore, it finally arrived. So I've had Ballistic Gel before and used it in tests on the channel. The type I had before is the 20% Ballistic Gel, which is tougher, and it really didn't work very well. It was just too tough. It was way too hard to cut, and for the kind of stuff that I do here, it just wasn't really appropriate. This is 10% Ballistic Gel. It's a pretty large block, as you can tell, fairly heavy, and that sound is very satisfying, isn't it? You can punch the crap out of it. Anyway, so this is more suitable for blade tests. It's still not perfect. I mean, Ballistic Gel always has some drawbacks. I mean, it's designed for, who would have thought, ballistic tests. It's not designed for blades, of course. It's not ideal, but there are some advantages to it. So one of the things is it's reusable, and that means I have a fairly cheap test cutting medium that I can use over and over again. Whereas things like tatami mats, for one, they are hard to find, at least in Canada, and also they tend to be kind of pricey for something that you just got to destroy and then throw away, especially. Whereas a gel, you can melt it down. I also got a roasting oven with it that you just put the gel in, you melt it, and then you pour it, and you can reuse it pretty much as many times as you like. It's going to get it won't stay as clear, of course, but it's just cosmetic, and for this kind of use it doesn't really matter. And other things, newspaper rolls, yeah, you can get them for free, but they are not great to cut. And other things, there are not too many really good options, and this is just something that I can constantly use for blade test. I can put wooden dowels inside and various other materials to kind of vaguely approximate bone. It's not going to be the most realistic thing in the world, but it doesn't have to. I mean, I just need something that I can use for blade tests that doesn't, burn away the money every time. Also, things like, for example, if I want to test mail, I need something that I can set it up with a torso-like block, and then attach the mail in front and have something firm behind, and then I can do tests that way. So it makes certain sense, in short. And also, by the way, this is synthetic Ballistic Gel, because sometimes people are wondering, because I'm vegetarian, how that works out, but it doesn't contain any animal products. So that's all good. Either way, the other thing that I wanted to talk about was just personal stuff lately, what I've been up to. I've been spending a lot of time working out lately to recover from the injuries, for one, but more importantly, get in shape, lose fat, get stronger, that kind of thing. And it's been going pretty well. I mean, the weight loss is moderate, but it's constant. It keeps going down. And yeah, I've been in the gym on a 4 to 5 times a week routine. It's a 2-week plan that I rotate through so that I train every body part twice a week. And then also 3 to 4 times a week of martial arts training. So HEMA, of course, that takes a lot of time because I have to get there and back. Sometimes it's with a bicycle. And it just, doing the workout and then getting back home. And it takes quite a bit of time, of course. Doesn't affect the channel. I've still been able to do the regular upload every other day schedule. So it's not a problem. But yeah, so overall, things are improving, which is good. So the other thing was, what was the other thing? Oh yeah, armor. So I'm thinking again about investing into armor. Some of you may remember I talked about that in, 2013 or 14, a while ago. That was on the table. And I'm picking the idea back up because I'm a lot more confident now that I can actually make it this time. Actually, when I talked about that the first time and considered getting armor, I was also in the process of losing fat and didn't work out so well. This time it's going a lot better, and I'm much more confident that I can do it this time. So it's not necessary. An armor is custom made, right? So it doesn't really matter what your shape is. The armor can be adjusted. In fact, I've seen some armors that seem to have been made for rather stout folks. So it was a thing historically, but I would just prefer to get into better shape before doing that. So now the plan is, I noticed Royal Oak Armoury, which I've considered before, has a current wait list of 12 months. So it means that, the armorer would be able to start working on the armor after 12 months from whenever you place the order and put some money down. So that makes certain sense because it's also going to take quite a while to save up for that. I asked people on Patreon what they think about that idea because it's a lot of money. It's a lot of funds to invest into this project, and all the responses were positive. Everybody agrees with that, which is nice, pretty awesome. And the armor, if I remember correctly, the final price for the armor would be somewhere around $8,000. Now, why that much, and why Royal Oak? So, of course, since it's a Canadian armor, the wage is a bit higher than somebody in Poland or the Czech Republic. They can work for cheaper. But the thing is, 2 reasons really for me to go for that. One, I really like the work of that particular armorer. I've seen the pictures. The work he does is beautiful. I've talked to him and he seems very, very knowledgeable and competent. So it seems like top-notch quality. And the other thing is, he's in Canada. So I can travel there. It's a different province. It is a bit of a trip, but not too terrible. So I can actually get there to have the armor adjusted. Yes, I could take my measurements and send that to an armorer in over in Europe. It's possible, but it's not going to be as precise as that. Especially, if it turns out with the way the pieces interact, if something doesn't quite work out, he can adjust that. If I get, for example, just a pair of gauntlets from overseas, not a big deal. As long as they fit, it's okay. They don't interact with that many other parts. But things like, for example, the way how the pauldrons interact with the breastplate and that with the gorget, and all the parts, of course, move together. So they need to be properly adjusted to really have an accurate representation of what armor can and cannot do. Yes, of course, people get pieces that are not perfectly custom fitted and they can still deal with that. They can still use the armor and whatnot, but it's not going to be a proper historical representation of what armor was like. because this is how they did it. They fitted it exactly to the user. So I find that a lot more efficient, and it just gives you more, useful information. So I think it's a much better thing if I can actually get there and have it done properly that way. So yeah, again, that's a lot of money, but I calculated, or at least estimated, that after 12 months, if I save up the Patreon funds for that, it should be, after Patreon fees and the tax that I have to pay on it, it should come to about $4,000 to $5,000. And so that's not too far off. I should hopefully be able to scrape enough money together by, saving up from our household budget and also selling a few things, swords and other stuff that I have that I don't absolutely need to keep, that sort of thing, to, scrape it all together and then get that armor. So what kind of armor? What I've been thinking about is 16th century armor. Why 16th century? Well, I've been talking to the armorer, and he had some good points on that armor. For one, it's easier to wear. It doesn't require specific undergarments. With medieval armor, you need a properly fitted arming doublet with tassets that you can attach the armor to, and all of that. So it requires a certain setup. That kind of armor, 16th century, apparently can be worn on a sweatshirt if you so choose. It still works. So basically you have to think that the armor at that time was at the height of its development. I haven't seen much of that really, especially on YouTube. On YouTube, you usually see high medieval plate armor. The later stuff you don't usually see, at least I haven't. And it would be pretty interesting to cover that as well. But I'm not dead set on it. I haven't made a full committed decision yet about that. You can feel free to make some suggestions for other time periods and other types of armor. It doesn't actually have to be European, but that's what I'm really in this case interested in, because it's just the most extensive armor. I mean, yes, they did have heavy armor in other places of the world as well, but that's just pretty sophisticated stuff that covers really every part of the body, at least some of the armors. So yes, that should be about it. So let me know. As I said, the Patreon supporters are very much in support of it. And yeah, everybody else, you can let me know what you think about it and other things. More helmet tests will come after this. I have 2 more videos. There are 2 more helmets. One, the Coppergate style helmet with the brass reinforcement and the cheek plates and mail aventail. And then the heavy duty bassinet that people have sent in. So those will be coming, and then after that I'll make a kind of summary video where I discuss the results and try to draw some conclusions. So we'll get to that shortly. Other than that, hope you found this interesting, or nice way to kill time. I don't know, whatever. Thanks for watching.